Well, Bluesound really started quite a bit before we introduced the product. Around just the turn of the century, 2000, the NAD lab was working on network audio-video players. Initially, our thought was that we would make these products NAD products and that we would just simply add the functionality of multi-room streaming into our traditional NAD products.
So Bluesound was almost not Bluesound. Bluesound started as an idea, as a concept, living and breathing within the NAD brand.
You know, I felt that if it was under the NAD brand, it would perhaps lose its potential and not be seen, just because it may be seen as a hi-fi brand and an old-fashioned hi-fi brand to that new demographic that was expressing interest in wireless connectivity and tablets and, you know, screens and user interfaces and multi-room and those kinds of things might not consider it the same way. Whereas if it was a brand created for this market, created for these music lovers, it had a chance of being noticed more than just a feature addition to a hi-fi brand.
A third brand really was a clear statement about whether it was amplification or acoustics. It was a place where we would combine the third leg that would hold it all together, which is the networking and distribution technology and internet music services.
In order to create this new brand, we didn't know what it would be called. And in fact, that's a whole interesting story in and of itself. But we consulted with Bob Beck at Design Society.
The Bluesound brand name is an interesting story. There's a couple of versions of it, depending on who you ask, but really what happened was we had a really long list of names that were in consideration. Bluesound was one of the names on the list. And so we were getting really frustrated because we were getting shot down. The top 10 list had already been whittled down and we were moving into some unknown territory. And this color, blue, kept coming back in the imagery and we weren't really cognizant of it. But you know, when you go to see a show live and you're either in a small club or at a different venue, that color is always in the gels and the lights.
Once we settled on Bluesound, it clicked. Everyone got it right away. It was easy to remember. It had meaning.
And it went with this whole marketing campaign, Living Hi-Fi, which was a great triple entendre because I'm living hi-fi, I'm part of the club, I'm special. I'm living hi-fi. Bluesound is living hi-fi. It's like the band is in my living room. I'm actually enjoying a live recording.
So the Living Hi-Fi platform was developed in order to translate that to an external consumer, to maybe a non-audiophile, a passionate music listener, but somebody that would not necessarily get caught in the details of the 24-bit audio message. Obviously, it's part and parcel to that message, but Living Hi-Fi expresses a little bit more of a lifestyle dimension to it.
And really, it had to start with the customer that we were facing, the customer that we were aiming for. Modern audiophiles, people who were aspiring to something more. Maybe they didn't really understand hi-fi, and so we had to speak a new language, and that language had to be reflected in the whole brand manifesto that was created in those days.
The Bluesound manifesto, I mean, it kind of sounds a little pompous maybe, just the whole word and name of it, but it's actually a very important document for us because we created the manifesto to be the guiding light through which everything should really be viewed to see if it fits who we are. So it's a statement really of what are our core values, what's important to us, what really matters.
It was really the manifesto that was designed to be an internal communications tool before anything else. And so that manifesto, that original manifesto, which has, I think, three different stanzas, which really leads up to a passion for 24-bit high-res audio, was created really to get everybody on the same page.
It kind of says who we are, where we came from, what's important to us, what's incorruptible, and it's a guide. And to me, it speaks volumes because, I mean, I don't think a lot of brands have that kind of thing. When we launched with 4 products, the Node, the Power Node, the Vault, and the Pulse. And each one represented an opportunity to engage a certain type of consumer.
In the early days, before it was even Bluesound, there were no streaming services, or very, very minimal. It was a world of downloads, and most people still owned a lot of CDs. And so people were ripping their CDs onto their computer. So one of the first products we actually developed was the Vault. The Node then became a very, very popular product in our range. Any system that had an input, you could add this Node and start streaming. But then we found a lot of people had very old stereos that perhaps weren't up to date with the latest amplifier technology. And so we said, why don't we take that concept and bring it into the new world of audiophile 2.0 by combining the Node streamer with a very high performance audio amplifier. And we could take this and make a new kind of integrated amplifier we call the Power Node. And that has been extremely successful. We say, if you buy this little box, all you have to do is add your favorite speakers to it, and you've got a killer audio system.
And then there was the Pulse. It was all just one box system. And a lot of people just wanted a one box solution. But we didn't want any one box solution. It had to sound great, like really great. So fortunately here at Lembrook, we also own a speaker company, a loudspeaker company, and had the ability to have one of the world's foremost loudspeaker designers work with our team to create the acoustic signature of this product. So when it came out, it wasn't just a one-box speaker. It was a one-box speaker that everybody went, wow, I didn't expect it to sound that good.
The Pulse family of speakers is really an understated part of the Bluesound story. The Pulse speakers carry the same DNA as all of our component products. The Pulse speakers are hi-fi products in these luxurious, beautiful shells with nice materials and everything.
We knew we had a great product, but we needed to get attention. Interesting design was one way that we thought we could go about accomplishing that. And frankly, it worked, because anybody who saw it stopped and went, what is that?
We consulted with a really outstanding design firm called DFID, headed up by David Farage, who had an international background, had won many awards.
In the case of Gen 1, which is sitting right behind me here in the studio, we wanted to create a physical industrial design that was honest, that was pure, that had nothing superfluous about itself.
It actually made a lot of sense that Generation 1 Bluesound would be kind of a radical industrial design that looked different from everything else on the market. It's because the product and the brand was different from everything else on the market. And then when we introduced Generation 2 in 2015, we had changed the industrial design of a lot of the products, and we had also added products to the lineup. And so what you had was a Node 2, a Power Node 2, a Vault 2, a Pulse 2, but then 2 additional speakers, kind of a smaller version of the Pulse called the Pulse Mini, and then the smallest version of the Pulse called the Pulse Flex. And the name for the Pulse Flex came about because of its flexibility in design. It really was created to be kind of this can go anywhere type of product, and it was even made with a battery pack optional so that you could literally take it anywhere you wanted to go.
So over the last decade, Bluesound has evolved. It's matured to really understand the user's true needs. So in the case of the Gen 2, we introduced a user interface panel on the top surface that not only built upon the beautiful app of BlueOS, but also added the convenience of volume and track forward, back, and play pause.
We had also launched into home theater within the connected audio space, and so we had launched Pulse Soundbar. That was our very first soundbar product, as well as a Pulse Sub, which was our very first connected subwoofer product. This put us into the category of wireless home theater, which was and increasingly is a very important part of our product strategy. A few years later, in 2018, we came out with Generation 2i, and the main product-oriented adjustment that Gen 2i made was that all the products became integrated with Apple AirPlay 2. And that was kind of a big milestone for us. Gave customers another access point to stream into the ecosystem.
Yeah, AirPlay was a game changer for sure. And we were a logo, on the board in the Apple meeting. That was a game changer. That was like, who are they?
That was the moment that it was like, other people are talking about us. Other people who matter in the industry are talking about us.
In the early stages, it was asking a lot of companies who were in this space if they were interested in working with a startup. And that's how we positioned it.
The challenge with some of those conversations in the early days is that, because we were starting, we were small. So we did not have significant numbers. And most streaming companies are looking to add listeners by the gajillion, as fast as they possibly could. And we did not really offer, a ton of listeners because we were starting out. Streaming music service is obviously central to the brand's flexibility and how a lot of people want to listen to music, simply like that. And there was a company in Norway called Wimp who were really good. They did high resolution.
We worked very closely with them. They needed a platform and we needed a streaming service, and it just worked out really, really well. We were both perhaps on the same path in our trajectory, our business trajectory at that time. So it was really a great fit and a great partnership. As they expanded worldwide, they became Tidal. It is a very, very solid streaming service that continues to do high resolution.
They always saw the value. I think everybody always saw the value in the brand. Nobody ever doubted the brand. We'd send them product and they'd all go, I love it, I want it, I want to keep it.
Our Scandinavian partner, HiFi Klubben, was not only an early adopter, but an early encourager of us to develop the Bluesound and BlueWasp platform. They are very, very close to their customers. Their customers are very tech forward. We worked quite a bit with them getting the specifics of the product just right.
They were fun to deal with, but very, very smart and typical to Danish form, I think, brutally honest in their feedback. They told you exactly what worked and what didn't work. And as long as you had the chops to hear those kind of criticisms, hugely valuable.
We love our approach to feedback, and we love feedback. We take it from many, many, many channels. And in fact, our singular greatest strength is taking feedback. We take it from customers, we take it from suppliers, we take it from partners, we take it from anybody who offers feedback.
I think establishing a new brand from scratch is a tall order, and it asks a lot of everybody. It asks a lot of our partners to come along with us and support us in the different markets. Frankly, just very grateful to them all for all of their support over all these years.
I would say a big, warm thank you from the bottom of this heart. There were certainly a lot of people who were willing to support us and Lenbrook, carrying the brand through whatever happened, and came back for more.
Thanks for allowing us to grow up.
I would just say thank you, first of all, and also let's keep doing this. This is fun, and let's keep listening to really good music.